How does Vladimir Putin like to project himself? What is he known for? Power play, muscle flexing, and an open display of machismo. I'm sure you've seen videos like these, Putin firing weapons, performing James Bond-like stunts and posing topless. These photo ops are his way of projecting strength, of positioning himself as a powerful leader. Today, he featured in one such video. Vladimir Putin dressed in military fatigues in Russia's Far East, sitting inside a military command post flanked by the top brass of the Russian army, Defense Minister Sergei Shoigu, and the military chief of staff of Russia, Valery Gersimov. Through his binoculars, Putin watched a drill. This was the final phase of the Vostok exercise. What's the exercise? It's basically war games on a massive scale. They began last week. 13 countries are participating, and the list includes India, also China. More than 50,000 troops are involved. There are 5,000 weapons units, including 140 aircraft and 60 warships, 60. So the scale is massive, like I said, and Putin's appearance today was a victory lap of sorts. He wanted to make a point to the West that he's far from being isolated. In fact, he's challenging the West with these drills. This latest one is a joint exercise between Chinese and Russian forces. It happened off the northern coast of Japan. This is in the Sea of Japan. And this is the area we're talking about. It's disputed. Russia calls them the Kuril Islands. Japan calls them the Northern Territories. These are 4 islands, and these islands are contested. Both Russia and Japan stake a claim, but for now, Moscow controls them. Russia is doubling down on its claims, and that too in a dangerous manner. Let's talk about the drills first. China and Russia showed up with a sizable military contingent in the Sea of Japan. There were at least 6 warships. Do you know what they did? They began firing their machine guns into the Sea of Japan. Tokyo was quick to protest these drills.
At around 3 p.m. on September 3rd, the Japan Maritime Self-Defense Force confirmed that 6 Chinese and Russian naval vessels launched machine gun fire into the sea in sequence in the waters about 190 kilometers west of Cape Kamui, Hokkaido. This sea area is a navigation warning area that was recently set in the Sea of Japan, and we have confirmed that it was fired outside of Japan's economic zone. After that, it was confirmed that these Chinese and Russian ships proceeded eastward through the Soya Strait.
And it did not stop there. Russia has raised the stakes. It has scrapped a visa pact with Tokyo. Earlier, Japanese citizens did not need a visa to visit these disputed islands, but now they might lose those privileges. Japan's Prime Minister Fumio Kishida called Moscow's move, quote-unquote, totally unacceptable. Japan is worried about the growing military provocations, also Russia's growing defense ties with China. This year, Tokyo released a military strategy document. It talks about the Russia-China military ties. Japan sees this as a threat, and this is what their strategy document says. I'm quoting, "In the vicinity of Japan, Russia has made moves to strengthen cooperation with China, such as through joint bomber flights and joint warship sales involving the Russian and Chinese militaries, as well as moves to portray such military cooperation as strategic coordination. These trends warrant concern and must continue to be closely watched in the future." Strategic coordination, that's what Japan is calling it. It is a product of the no-limits partnership of Putin and China's President Xi Jinping. That's what they announced some time back. For both these leaders, the West is a common enemy. So they're working together, using existing conflicts as pressure points. The aim is to derail the Western campaign and to isolate Russia. How can Japan neutralize this strategic coordination? Tokyo made a move today. It is deepening maritime security ties with 2 countries, the United States and the Philippines. Japan hosted top diplomats from both these countries today. They vowed to step up cooperation. This is part of a larger deterrence campaign. Manila, too, is concerned about growing militarization of the region. They're concerned about the Chinese military and the PLA's provocative moves around Taiwan. The Philippines is now ready to host American troops. It is willing to let American forces use its military bases. How do you think that would pan out? The fact is, the West-East conflict is intensifying. It began with the war in Ukraine. Now the world is dealing with multiple flashpoints. Last month, tensions around Taiwan dominated headlines, and now Russian and Chinese troops are firing into the Sea of Japan. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.